Aquí está. Give me 1 second, Joshua. Okay. I will send to you. Hello, Joshua. How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me?
How are you, Joshua?
Good, thank you.
So I'm so happy, really. Thank you. Thank you for accepting the invitation, really. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Thank you for asking me to do this.
Okay. Yes. I'm going to Joshua the introduction about you. Okay. Really, thank you so much to accepting this invitation. It's very interesting to know more about the wheelchair tennis. Really, it's very interesting to know how's your history, how's your experience, and how do you feel playing tennis, and what important is the tennis in your life. Really, really, I'm so happy that you agreed to do this interview. So I'm going to do the introduce about you. So Joshua, you was selected to represent England in the national school game after 1 year playing, selected
Yeah.
last year to be part of the LTA performance program, national junior champion, and also wheelchair tennis player. So Joshua, tell us about your history.
So I've always been in sport from the age of 5. I've started with football, well, disability football. Did that for quite a few years, then made my way as I grew up
Wow.
into judo, and then I in 2016, I think it was, I went to the British Open, the a big tennis tournament in the country which is near me. I went there, and then I saw one of my fellow players playing wheelchair tennis there, and I thought I'd try it because it was open for trials. And I thought, okay, I'll try this, and I've fell in love with it ever since there. Then, so then,
Don't worry.
um, then it started off in Nottingham, near me, and it started off there. We're just training once a week, slowly building up. Then I got told a session by one of my friends that did tennis, that there was another coaching session on Wednesdays, on Wednesdays. So which was with one of the performance coaches that coached the top players for wheelchair tennis in my country. So I started going there, and the sessions just started developing to be even more sessions as the years went on. I didn't enter that many tournaments on my first year because, well, it was probably my first year. I took everything really as experience. I learned the hard way against the tough players on my first tournament, second round, and then I played doubles, which I won. I got first place in uh, with my doubles partner, which is now number 3 in the world for
Wow,
juniors. So
this is good.
I don't, yeah, um, yeah, and then I entered more competitions. I never really got past the first round in my first year until I went to nationals, the big nationals tournament for wheelchair tennis, where I like I don't know, had like a little breakthrough where I got all the way to the semis and lost just by 2 points. But
Wow.
then yeah, so I realized that's really the turning point where I should start taking tennis to the next level and start really pushing myself to be better and strive to be better, which ended up being really positive because I started getting further places in rounds. I
Yeah.
still never really achieved that high on the second year, because it was more difficult with like it was more difficult to place because the top players that there are now, because there's seven top players that are like internationally ranked. I am ranked,
Okay.
but they've been playing for longer internationally. They were like at the top of their junior game there, where they were really good for
Okay.
against those new players. So that's where. Give me a second.
Don't
So
worry. Don't worry.
yeah. It was on the second year of nationals round. I did good again, which was really second year British Open for the juniors where I first started off. I won the consolation finals, so I got knocked out in the first round, and but then there was a tournament that goes backwards. I won that. I think it was 4-2 for love to me because we played short sets to 4 instead of 6, and then I started probably keep getting that further and further more confidence from the more
Okay.
wins I got against older people that had been playing for longer. And then on the third year, it was the other players that were dominating the juniors during that year went up to adults and got invited to this program. So they started training more. They started playing internationally. Some of them did. So they went off into the juniors to adults, where I kind of came in and dominated the next junior year, which probably gave me a massive confidence boost to probably give myself more confidence to feel like I can do more with my tennis, which is where
Yes.
I won most of my competitions that year.
Okay.
Then I had got invited to school games. I think that was on my second. School games was a really good experience because there was like players lounge. It was kind of like a mini Olympics, but just the country. It was really fun because you got to see all the other athletes and what they're doing, and
Yes.
see what they're about. Yeah, and then I didn't do that well in that tournament. Well, I didn't do that well. I got knocked out in first round on all of them, but it was still just a really good experience. Because
Yes.
it was a massive tournament. It was really fun just to be part of it. Then second year, which was on my third year of playing tennis, I got invited again, where I got bronze in doubles and I won my first round, but then got knocked out by a more experienced player again. But that was still further progress because I got to see how close I was to those players.
Yeah.
Then my fourth
Yeah.
year, I started playing. I played against one of the players I'd played against, which I'd lost against. I'd won. I won against him. I won against him, but then got knocked out in the second round again because I'd been put up into the next division where the more experienced players are, because I'd been in Division 2s, and it was still really good experience just to get that one win and know that I am knocking away at those players, and it was still very good. And then fourth year, they played more internationally. I got invited into one of their into the second program, which was known as the Junior Futures Potentials 2, which I got invited to.
Yeah.
I got to learn with one of the ex-Paralympian players as he coached us, and an ex-ATP player who hit with us.
Wow.
Secondly, coached with us. It was really just enjoyable time when they're all so friendly. They didn't expect too much, but they pushed you to your limits. So that's kind of that's my story. I may have missed a few things. I'm not sure.
No, this is very nice, Joshua, really. And you have now more experience in the tournament and you feel more confidence in your game.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
how was the first time when you played tennis? How
When
was the
it?
experience? Yes.
Oh God.
Did you feel that the tennis is difficult, or did you feel that it was easy for you?
It was
The first time that
It was the first time I played. It was very difficult. My hand-eye coordination was non-existent. I couldn't
Wow.
hit a ball, but I couldn't hit a ball, but it still grew on to me because I still wanted to excel and do better than what I did, and it was difficult. I came out with a few like blisters from pushing the chair because my hands weren't the most toughest. But it was very good. It
Yeah,
grew on me
good, good,
instantly.
good. And anyone in your family play tennis?
No family, no
No?
links to tennis, no.
And how did you get interest to play tennis?
How did I get interested?
Yes.
Well, the year before I started, well, I'd been told by one of the players that I'd been playing it for a year before, because we knew each other from football, and then we knew each other. Then he tried out judo when I tried, and then because we told him about it, then he told us to. He kept nagging us to try tennis, wheelchair tennis,
Okay.
and then eventually when it kind of came into the timeline of us going to a competition, and it was there to try. So we thought we may as well try. We'll see what I thought about it, because they were nagging us to try it, and yeah, that's how I got interested. My friend kind of like forced on me to try, and
Yeah.
thanks him for it.
Really. So Joshua, it's very interesting.
Disabled, but then I think I know what you mean now. How some of them are more disabled, some aren't.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because we have we have two divisions. We have the open where it's it's the least disabled ones, and then you have the more disabled, which are which are called quads, where more than 4 limbs are affected, and they go into there. So they probably wouldn't be able to compete to the level that others would in open. So my physical condition is very, very good because I'm very mobile. I wouldn't go into the quad division.
Very good, very good. This is good. So it's difficult to move the wheelchair on court? There is a technique, something like that you have to practice?
It's different for everyone because you've got to hold your racket in your hand, it's different because I'm guessing it's your hand size. What's probably more easier to get access to the actual rim on the wheel that you use to push, because it's probably, and also the grip size you use, because I don't know what your range is from. I use a 3, I think I use a grip 3, and I've pushed with a very continental grip, which is probably the easiest for me to do. But it's different. Well, it starts off difficult with pushing your chair, but as you slowly do it, as slowly you do it more and more, it becomes easier. It slowly becomes easier because you'll get used to what's more comfortable for you. Your hands will toughen up, so you won't get as many cuts, etc., from the rims. So it all depends.
Okay. And how many hours? How many hours do you train every day?
All of the people I train with, they all fit into the open division.
Okay.
But we have 2. I believe we have 2 players that would fit into the quad division. But they've now aged out, and I think they're now going to start pushing towards adult. Well, they're going to start pushing towards competing in more adult, higher tier tournaments.
Wow. And do you do physical trainer?
Yeah, I have a personal trainer every Saturday. It's every Saturday morning where I go to a gym with my personal trainer, and he trains me very hard.
Yes, I saw many videos from you, and really so hard. Yes. It's very important, especially to have your shoulder strong, your core, your back.
Yeah, it's quite easy to get worn down when you're in a long rally with it, because when you're in a long rally and you're just pushing continuously, it can be very tiring on your arms, your shoulders. But that's where the physical conditioning probably comes in, and where the stronger players show it. I wouldn't say you really, when you train for my type of sport, you would, well, tennis, I'd say in general, you don't really train for that much, like for much bulk or strength to have great massive hits, but you train for endurance, I think, more, because sometimes you may be lasting 2.5 hours plus in a match. It is difficult. It is difficult. And then when your rallies, then when I had got a nice good old, when I had my last British Open where I nearly got into the final, it was very difficult because I had someone that just got the ball back every time, and the rallies were exceeding 20 nearly most points. It was incredibly tiring.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's harder.
Yeah.
Wow. And how do you work the resistance?
What do you mean? What do you mean by that? So, like,
for example, the cardio. How do you work that? Do
my
you
cardio,
do some special exercise on core, or what do you do?
Well, we do. Well, normally before we start anything, we do pushing at the start of most matches and training to get ourselves warm. But cardio wise, a few of us over lockdown, especially, have made these things where we can push to probably train our upper body cardio and endurance. I spent 15 minutes every day just pushing on my chair with some resistance bands behind me. So that's probably how I trained my cardio up top and etc.
Yes, Joshua, it's very important to have a good condition, especially because when you have to move the wheelchair, you have to have, your shoulder stronger, because it's not easy.
No, you use a lot of your core as well to throw yourself forward with your pushing to get that extra momentum. But it's probably not the best side. But when doing that, you might end up throwing yourself backwards trying to get back up to be pushed down again, which probably will slow you down a lot. But yeah, my condition affects my entire right side, so my left side is stronger, but it doesn't show on court, I wouldn't say.
Interesting, really. So, Joshua, what is your best shot?
Definitely not smash. I can never get one of them in. Probably my forehand.
Okay. And you use the same grip to hit forehand and backhand?
No, I use the modified Eastern grip on my forehand. Then kind of like an Eastern grip for my topspin backhand. And then for my slice, I'm not sure what I'd call it. It's kind of between semi and Eastern type of thing.
Okay. So tell us about the rules in the wheelchair tennis.
Well, a lot of it is very similar to able-bodied tennis, except that we get 2 bouncers and able-bodied only get 1. That is mainly the only difference. Except I believe we get access on some tournaments we get access to coaching, which able-bodied don't, I believe.
Okay.
I believe that's the only difference.
Yes. So it's difficult, Joshua, when you have to turn the chair? It's difficult because I saw many videos and really the player do amazing points, really. And it's fast. They hit and sometimes they have to turn the chair. I don't know how do it, but really it's very nice. So
Yeah.
can you explain us about that? Because really it's very interesting.
So turning the chair is really key, being able to move your chair really well, because if you can't, turning is probably the one key, is probably the thing that most players struggle with. Just purely understanding. Sometimes when you get a new chair, it's going to be it's going to be a lot cleaner, a lot easier to move. Like I know when I got my newest chair, and I went from my loan chair to my new one. I know I nearly tipped out first turning. I tipped out my chair nearly when I first turned. It was a lot cleaner. But to turn, you have to you hold on to one of your wheels and it will force the other one around. But it depends, because a lot of chairs run easier. Some run easier, some run harder to turn.
Yeah.
And it just depends on the way you turn, because sometimes if you really hold on to the rim, it can be really difficult, because it's not smooth. You'll lose a lot of momentum during your turn, which will be hard to get to the next ball. But if you were to lightly tap it, lightly tap the thing so it slowly turns you, but you keep your momentum, which will probably keep which will probably give me. I'm not sure how to say it. We'll give you what you've lost in not being able, because when you turn with a hard grip, you turn really really sharply, but you lose all your momentum. But if you were to do it lightly, then you keep your momentum, but you don't lose, but you don't lose your speed, because you're tightening. But you've got to go around a wider amount, so it's not so sharp. But being able to keep that speed probably repays the loss of length of turn.
Okay, yeah. So Joshua, do you do on core any exercise that you work these kind of things on core about improve? How do you have to move with your chair on core?
We do tests at the National Tennis Centre. We do. So we've got we call it a fan drill. Well, this is one of them. We do a fan drill where there's 5 cones all put in the corners of the court, and you have to go around them, and basically you get timed, and you have to try and improve on it. You get 2 goes with You get 2 goes without a racket, 1 go with a racket, and it's kind of disheartening, because you feel like you're doing really well, and then when you get it, it's like, oh, that's so much slower than I thought it was. And then we also do sprints to see how fast you can cover that ground in that speed. Well, because we do this test, we have time gates. We have to get pushed straight through them between 4 different time gates, and you get measured each time you go through, and then the machine that they use adds it all up, and then you have to keep getting personal bests every time you do it.
Wow, this is good.
And then we also then we have another one that's like that, but we implement a turn into it. But that was the only difference.
Wow. Joshua, and it's difficult, for example, when your opponent hit a drop shot and you have to move to the net, is difficult to move the chair, or it's easy?
It depends on the court. It depends on your position on the court, really, because if you sit quite far back, or if you're recovering from a wide shot and they drop it short, you're gonna have to. And they go back behind you. It may be difficult to get to, but it also depends on how much spin they put on the ball, because they may have not put that much on it, but if they didn't put that much on it, then it's not that hard to get to. But it just depends on your explosive power on your pushing.
Yeah. So this is good. So do you like to come to the net to do some volleys, or do you prefer to play in the baseline?
I used to push to the net a lot, but I've started staying back at the baseline now, but moving in forward when need be. And I found it's a lot better, and it's a lot better to like win points with it, because they like get them in a difficult position, then move forward, and not just move forward whenever. And it opens it up for a lot of drop shots, which is probably one of my better shots.
Yeah. And when you are playing the match, what is the strategy that you like to do?
Well, I'm left-handed, so I get a lot of. So it's a lot. Well, it should be. It opens up the right-hander's weakness a lot with their backhand, because my forehand cross court is on their backhand, which they may. But then the right-handers may play their forehand to my backhand, to a normal right-hander's backhand, but it will be my forehand, which it may be hard for them to adjust to. So I try and use my left-handedness to help me. But yeah, I do have certain strategies that I learned from my coach, and that some of the professional players have analysed their own gameplay, which I use.
Okay. This is nice. Joshua, who is your tennis coach?
Martin Waite. He's a national performance coach. He trains our top two men for our country. So I'm one of our top quads. So he's got a lot of knowledge within the tennis.
Okay. So do you prefer to play single or doubles, or both?
Singles.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Just purely because I don't want to end up getting frustrated at my partner if they miss something. So probably more for my own sanity, I prefer doing singles.
Yeah, but it's nice. So doubles is different. So maybe you can enjoy more, or you can relax. Yeah. So
it all depends on the chemistry that you have with your partner. Depends on how much you will enjoy your doubles match. If you don't know them that well, it will be very awkward. The communication on court will be very difficult. But if you know them very well, the communication will be very smooth, very easy to do.
Yes. Do you remember the best point that you did?
It was last year, British Open. I got pushed out wide. I got pushed basically onto another court, so I would have interrupted another match's point, but there weren't someone playing on it. And then I was really far out wide, and then I got it back. Then they drop shotted it on the far right side of the court, and I got to it somehow and won the point off it.
Okay. Wow.
That was my favorite or best shot. Point that I remember.
Wow. This is good. And what is your best game that you win?
That I won. Well, I'd played this girl for a while. I trained with her, and she'd won most of my matches, won most of the matches that I'd played against her, and I'd finally won the game, which took a lot of effort, and that was probably the best game. That was probably the best match I've ever played, purely because it was an achievement to finally be able to achieve what I'd been training for, and beating that person that had beaten me like 3 times before.
Wow.
Which included my favorite point.
Yeah. Good. This is nice. So Joshua, when you are practice, so do you prefer to to take a private session or to take a group session? What do you prefer?
I probably learn more in a private session, but I prefer doing it with groups because you get to play with fellow wheelchair players. Because my coach is able-bodied, I prefer to play with my fellow players, because it's really a lot more relaxed, and you can probably bounce off each other. If that person does a good drop shot, then you might want to try that, or you might want to try something they're doing, then you can work towards that. But it's probably just learning from each other.
Yeah. So Joshua, you know, when you play tennis, the tennis is difficult sport, really. It's mental sport. Obviously, you have to have a good condition, and you have to practice the technique and the tactic. But when you are in the real game, sometimes you have everything. But the most important moment, you need your mind. So on court, when you feel pressure, what do you do?
Well, I'd probably tell you for a little story here. Well, on my first few years, I looked very emotionless. I never felt really that much pressure. But as I've slowly grown in tennis, slowly became better, and slowly had my year, because with all of the players that have moved up have kind of all had their year in tennis. I probably gained more pressure during the matches. So probably what I do to help myself mentally when I'm feeling the pressure is, I always say to myself that it's 1 point at a time. You don't need to remember what happened in that. Just go to the next one. Just go to that next point where if you win that's what matters, not what happened before.
Yeah, it's true. So Joshua, for example, if you are in match point against, what do you think in this moment? Because it's not easy. You have to resolve. Depends on that. Depends if you win or if you lose the match.
In match point situation, I definitely, even if it's against me, match point against me or match point for me, I always say the same: just get it in, just get it in. That's all that matters. You don't need anything flashy. But that never works for me. I always try and do something flashy. I always try and get a really good drop shot or a really big forehand, but it never works. So I do just just calm myself down and just get it in. That's it. That if you're confident that you can get the ball in more than them, just do that. So that's my match point kind of tactic. Just stay calm.
Yeah, it is. What do you prefer? Do you prefer when you're going to start the match, do you prefer start serving or start returning?
Returning, definitely receiving, because it puts the pressure on the other players to get their serve in.
Okay.
Yeah, because then if they have a bad game on the first game on the serving, it's in their head that they're not doing. It's in their head that oh, I messed up my game. This could go wrong.
Okay.
But then it's probably the who's got the toughest mental game there, because then it's moved on to the other player, maybe been very quickly. Then the pressure's on them again. But I always choose return. Because it always puts pressure on them.
You feel more confidence. You feel more confidence.
Yeah.
Okay. So Joshua, the other thing that is very important when you play match is when you switch the side and you're going to take a rest. This minute is very important. Okay. So how do you approach this time? For example, if you are losing the match or if you are winning, how do you approach? What do you think in this time?
I probably try and like re-jog my memory of all that's worked and all that I need to keep repeating and all that they have done against me that I need to work on to stop them from doing that, or work out different plans that I can do.
Okay.
That will help. That will
This
help
is
me
good.
during that match. Yeah.
Okay. So do you like that your parents watch your matches?
Pardon? Do I like what?
Your dad, your mom?
Yes, I do. I do like it.
Yeah.
Because even though sometimes I may get like distracted and look up, I think I need to stay focused. But yeah, it gives me that motivation that I need to do well for them.
Okay, okay. And do you like also that your tennis coach watch your tennis matches?
Well, my main coach isn't often at the tournaments because he's away with his players that are competing internationally or in a high tier tournament. But when he is there to watch, it can be you can feel very pressured because you know that you need to impress him or her,
Yeah.
or do what you've been practicing and not change it up because something's going wrong.
Yeah. So Joshua, I asking you because some players like that the parents and also the tennis coach watch the matches, and another players they don't like, so because they feel pressure. So that's why it's very important. How do you feel? So yeah.
Uh,
Joshua, what is your plan? What is your dream
uh,
in the future?
Definitely. Well, my shorter term goal is to get to the World Team Cup. World Team Cup, where you compete as a team against a bunch of other countries at a tournament. That's my short term goal, but my long term goal is definitely to reach what more. Well, yeah, it's definitely reach further. Paralympics, Grand Slam. Wimbledon is the one I want to go to.
This is good. This is very good. So Joshua, how do you feel the tour? Is difficult? How do you feel? How do you have to improve if you want to get better ranking?
Well, it probably comes down to how much you train and how much dedication you have at home to improve what you can. Because certain players maybe at a certain stage where they still need to refine their technique, or just get or made or all they have to do is just continuously play with that technique, and their consistency is there, and then they're complete as the player, and then all they can do is keep going, keep getting better, or they may plateau. Probably all what I need to do is probably have the more motivation to keep going, but it's been difficult during this time to keep going, to keep striving for the goal that you want.
Yes, it's true. It's true. Joshua, do you have a sponsor?
I did have Wilson last year. That I did have Wilson that provided me with my tennis gear. But then I'm still sponsored by the Freemasons and the Rob George Foundation, which are giving me money towards my coaching and travel costs.
Yeah, this is good. This is good. So, what is the next tournament that are you planning to play?
Well, none of the official tournaments that we normally have, no players have any clue of what's going to go down, if it is going to happen or not, because I entered a tournament that was going to be happening soonish, but then we entered a tournament, and then an hour and a half later, it got cancelled. So we have we have no clue of what tournament's officially going to happen, but I do have a club championship between my club,
Okay.
which will be happening soon. I hope.
Wow, this is good. This is good. So, Joshua, what is your favorite tennis player?
Gordon Reed. He's
Really?
our top. Yeah, he's our top. He's one of our top British players. Then able-bodied is Roger Federer.
Nice, nice. And in female?
Pardon? Favorite female?
The female.
Probably Jordan Wiley. She's one of our coach. Was one of our coaches, but she's going to stop soon. But she's one of our British players.
Okay.
Then
Wow.
able-bodied, probably Joanna Conta.
Wow. Joshua, do you have any hobby?
No, not really. Just tennis is my hobby, and that's it, really.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So you love tennis?
Yeah. Well, I do
tennis,
play.
huh?
Yeah, I do play. I do have a games console that I do spend some time on, but I would say my main big hobby is going to be tennis.
Wow, wow. This is good and interesting. So do you want to go to the university?
No. I'll probably go to college, and that's where I may stop. Where I want to take a computing course or some sort of sports coaching course.
Okay.
They're the two things I want. Well, if I can get both of them, I will take both of them. But if I have to take one, then I'll want sports most likely.
Wow, wow, this is nice. So Joshua, what is your favorite movie?
Favorite movie?
Yeah.
Star Wars: The Revenge of the Sith.
Wow, why? Why do you like this?
Well, I'm a big Star Wars fan. Probably just because it's the pinnacle movement of what happened between all of the films. It is what changed the entire side of the war that was happening.
This is good.
How it swapped from being the good side to being ruled by the good side. Probably where then that's where it all had to change, and where the others were in the weakness.
Yeah. So Joshua, what do you feel when you play tennis? What do you feel inside?
Adrenaline, thrill, and just like happiness that I'm playing, even though sometimes it may be anger because I'm losing or I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah. It's true. So for example, in your life, what is the position that you have the tennis? Is the most important, or is the number one or number two? How is in your life?
Well, junior wise, or what I'm in, I wouldn't say there really is any stages of players at the moment. There is the players that may be given more because they are excelling more. They may be doing better than the rest, but there is no there isn't no stage of saying you are number one, kind of like giving each other our ratings.
Yeah, it's true. How is the federation in England? They support the wheelchair tennis?
Yeah, they do. They give us well, if you're part of the program, I'm in, and many other players are now, then you get the LTA, which is our foundation, which give out money to help support our tennis.
Wow.
And they will help towards certain things. So they do. They're a big help towards. They're a big help towards the wheelchair tennis of UK.
Wow, this is very good. Especially sometimes when you want to play tournament, sometimes it's expensive. So if you have this kind of help, it's better for you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, it is. Yeah, definitely. So Joshua, we have maybe 5 minutes more. So what is your recommendation? Because are many people in your condition around the world, and maybe they feel afraid to try something sport, especially to try tennis, because they don't know about that. What is your recommendation for this kind of people?
Well,
Why they should be play tennis, for example, or why they should be try to play tennis?
yeah, anyone should try. Anyone should try and do something, even if it's just trying. You may not like it, but then you may love it, like I did when I first started. But it may not be for everyone. Sometimes you may not be able to fit into the international Paralympic qualifications, but
Okay.
just doing that may be able to help your confidence, may be able to boost any sort of issues that you may be struggling with. But just trying tennis will help in any sort of sport would help. It may not help, but it may like you may enjoy it more. It may be something that you can escape with.
Yeah.
You may be able to escape with just being in a different environment to what you are in. But just
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. For tennis can be for anyone. You don't wheelchair tennis. You have to have some sort of disability. Able-bodied tennis, I can't really speak for, but anyone can still try. Able-bodied people that may struggle with disability may want to try wheelchair tennis. You shouldn't be afraid to try new things. People will understand people that do coach that should understand your situation and should be able to help and adjust to what your needs are.
Yeah, it's true. So Joshua, do you think that to play tennis help you in your life?
Yes, it probably gives you probably just doing that will probably I'd say it probably it boosted my confidence all around in life, etc. Just knowing that I am good at this and I might be able to take this sport to the Paralympics, probably did just boost my overall confidence in life and probably just helped me to say yes to more things than say no as like an automatic answer. So it definitely helps. I'd definitely say it would help with life.
Yeah, yes. And especially, really, tennis help you not only on core in your life, because sometimes, for example, when you are in the real match, you're going to feel different emotions and you have to resolve. And the same is in your life. Sometimes you're going to have a troubles and you have to resolve and you have to find a way.
Yeah. Tennis, life has its ups and downs. Tennis has its ups and downs. They can be linked to the same thing, but being able to problem solve in one can be able to help the other. So it's just being just knowing that you can problem solve doesn't means that you can somewhat be able to problem solve what you may have struggles in life or struggles in tennis. So
Yeah, yeah. Joshua, do you like the Roland Garros?
pardon? Yeah, Roland Garros,
Do
yes.
you like the Roland Garros? Yes?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
do you prefer US Open?
Roland Garros.
But it's difficult, I think. It's difficult to move the share on clay.
Yeah, I've had my experiences on clay. There is definitely more resistance because you're having to push through the clay. Yeah, and
Wow.
it is a lot. It is. I wouldn't say it's more difficult. It's probably. I'd say it's probably. I probably found it easier to turn on, but it's a lot harder to accelerate in straight lines because you're having to go through all of it
Wow.
compared to like hard surface where it's easier to where it's really smooth and you can where there is no restrictions. But when you're
Yes.
on clay, it is a lot more difficult.
How is in grass?
I've never played on a grass court, but I know that it'll be very different because the ball definitely bounces a lot different to all the other
Yeah.
surfaces. So I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
that it
yeah, yeah.
bounces lower.
Good. Wow. It really is a challenge.
Yeah,
Big challenge. Yes, yes. But step by step, you're going to get all your dream. Really, Joshua, you are a warrior. Come on. So I saw many pictures in your Instagram and videos, and really, you are very stronger. Really, you are a very good tennis player.
yeah,
Yes, yes. So thank you, my friend. Really. So
my
we
pleasure.
finished the interview. It's time. So really, it was very nice to talk with you. Thank you so much, Joshua, for your time, and thank you for sharing your experience and your life with all of us.
My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me to do this.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye. Bye.